in our budget consulting, a lot of times I tell parents who I see going down that road is talk to your kids about your financial goals, because the reality of the situation is that if you have financial goals and then you want your kids to have the best things, you can't really do two things at one time. You're going to direct a lot of your energy into one thing or the other. So what I normally recommend to my clients is that I let them know, hey, let your kids know what your financial goals are, because when you tell them no, you can't buy this, or if they go to the store with you and they ask for this video game or they ask for this thing, then if you know that you can't afford it, you can let them know. But the good news is that you let them know before that, hey, mommy and daddy are trying to do this financial goal. So when you tell them no, it's not going to hurt you as much and it's not going to hurt them as much because they understand why you're telling them no. A lot of time as parents, we try to shield our kids and not let them know what we're going through. And then we start buying things to all of our detriment because we never had the conversation. We never communicated what our financial goals were to our kids. And then because the kids wanted things and you know how it felt when you were a kid not to have, you try to scratch and claw to get them the thing that they want. But we're doing it to our detriment. And when I say detriment, I'm saying if you cannot truly afford this thing, you can't afford what you're buying them, then it's okay to tell them no. Hey, family. This is Jay Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 90. Let's
Woo!
go. Episode 90, fam. 90 weeks of consistency, 90 weeks of getting it done, 90 weeks of getting good information out that's hopefully going to add value to your lives. Uh, if you are new to this podcast, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. And if you are a return listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for tuning back in. Again, hopefully, we're adding value to your lives on the way to the M's. Man, I honestly never thought I would get to this point. I never thought past episode one or two or three. And just to say that we've achieved 90 episodes is a huge deal. And just the consistency that it takes to do something over and over and over again is huge as well, because that is exactly the way that we are going to build wealth. Consistent habits over and over and over again. And we're going to get into it, but I just wanted to say thank you to anybody who has given information, anybody who has dropped a comment, subscribed, listened, 89 weeks ago to now. Just thank you so much for, showing love, and I'm just overjoyed, man. I'm super excited. Wealth is a Journey has come a long way. We're now doing speaking engagements. We just dropped a wealth building community where we are sharing wins, going over strategies, and it has that community feel where we're getting together once a month and we're just going over things, reiterating things that's going to help you to build wealth. You may go through a budget class one time, but if you're not used to budgeting, then you may tend to fall off. But this community is centered around getting you to your financial goals and helping you get there and being that constant reminder that you can do it. Wealth building is for you. And these are the things that is going to help you get to your financial goals. So if you have not looked into joining the wealth building community, go to my website at wealthisajourney.com and join. It is a super small fee, but it will definitely help you get to your desired financial results. So today, we're going to talk about generational wealth. Like that's the buzzword, right? Generational wealth. But before we get to the generational wealth part, I feel like we need to break generational patterns. And you may hear generational curse. I don't necessarily believe that there are generational curses. I believe that we have generational patterns that put us in bad financial situations. And as we do the thing as parents, as leaders, community leaders, and then people coming behind us see us doing these things, then they repeat the pattern. And then as they become adults, then the people that are watching them repeat the same thing. And it's a constant cycle. So I believe that building wealth is easy. Excuse me. I believe that building wealth is simple, not easy. Building wealth consists of routines, patterns, habits that get you to your desired financial result. And today, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 3 easy ways to build generational wealth and at the same time breaking those generational patterns. And if you are in a pattern, you may be able to identify the 3 things that I'm going to talk about today. And then once they're identified, then you'll have the idea that, oh, well, maybe now that I know that I'm doing this, maybe I can stop doing this to get me on the road to financial freedom. I mentioned building wealth is simple but not easy. But I also believe that you have to build momentum, right? And once you build the momentum that you need to get you on the road to financial freedom, then that's when things get easier. It's like you do something one time and then you do it again and then you do it again and now it becomes a habit. And once you see the results of your habit, hopefully good habits, then you'll see, you know what, this thing is working. And then once you see the thing working, then it's going to give you the belief that you can continue doing it because now it's a habit and now you're seeing results. And as you start seeing the results of your consistent habits, then you'll hopefully continue on doing that and continue building momentum. So we're going to talk about those ways that's going to get you again to your desired financial result. So the number one way, in my opinion, is mastering the mundane. Shout out to my guy, Alistair Edwards. He was on a few episodes ago and he was talking about sales. And in talking to him before, he didn't mention it on the podcast episode, but I feel like mastering the mundane is the hardest part of building wealth. And when I say mastering the mundane is mastering the boring, mastering the thing that's not, say sexy. Uh, when people think about wealth, a lot of times they'll think that, somebody just hit a home run and they just invested $10,000 and then it turned into a million overnight. And it doesn't work like that. So with mastering the mundane, for me, it's setting up a budget. It's boring. Setting a budget is boring. However, the the difference in the way I talk about budgeting versus the way that you may have heard about budgeting growing up is we are taking our income, taking our expenses, and then whatever we have left over from those things, then we're paying down our debt. Once we pay down our debt, we'll have more money to do the sexy things, which is invest. Now, investing is boring as well, but again, once you start building momentum, you start seeing your account growing, you start seeing your investments growing, your portfolio growing. Then you're like, hey, this is pretty cool. It's pretty fun. But you have to get over the boring part and master that first. So the boring part is budgeting, and that needs to happen for you and for me every month. We need to know where our money is going. That's a non-negotiable in building wealth, in my opinion. And it's not something that I'm talking. This is not theory. This is not something that I read out of a book, and I'm telling you guys, and I'm talking to this audience about doing this. This is something that I've done. Lowered all of our expenses, and then we're investing at a rapid pace. Paid down our house, paid off our house, bought things with cash, so we don't owe anybody anything. And then if you do not owe anybody anything, then you can do exactly what you want with all of your money because you get to keep the majority of it, minus whatever your lifestyle expenses are. So I believe, again, we have to master the boring things to get to the spectacular things. Again, you're not going to build wealth overnight. It doesn't happen like that. You have to consistently do a thing month in, month out, lowering your expenses, then investing. And then once you do that, again, you'll see your account growing. And then once you see that, you're going to get excited because you're like, my future looks so bright now, as opposed to wanting to build wealth, spending your money all over the place. And then, 5, 6 years later, you're like, okay, where did all this money go that I made? And you have nothing to show for it. So we have to master the mundane. So that's number one. My name is Che Willis from Wealth is a Journey, and I help families living paycheck to paycheck live the life that they want to live through budgeting and investing. And I understand the word budgeting can be scary. However, what we're doing is we're lowering your expenses so you can have that money make you more money. And I also understand that giving your financial information to a total stranger is very scary as well. So what I've done is created a digital product on my website to take the fear completely out. You don't have to give your information to me or anybody else for that matter. The digital product gives you step by step on how to set up a budget, why budgeting is important, so you can get to living the life that you want to live starting today. So go to wealthisajourney.com. Again, wealthisajourney.com to start living the life that you deserve. Number two is be a grower, not a shower. What do I mean by that? I believe that a lot of us faced childhood trauma. And when I say us, I'm talking about people, not just Black people. I'm talking about a lot of people. So in talking to people when I do budget consulting, I find that people spend money. They start making a decent amount of money, and they start spending the money crazy. They're buying, different luxury items, taking different trips. And the reason that that's happening a lot of times is because they were not able to do that as children. So there's a lot of like different childhood traumas that we go through. And then once we start making a little bit of money, then we have this idea in our heads like, okay, I work hard, I deserve it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, buy whatever. But the problem is we don't think about the future. There's going to come a point in time when, again, you don't feel like working. You don't feel like getting up. You want to chill. You want to relax in your older age. But you can't because you never put anything away for the future because you were showing, I make a lot of money. I'm going to go ahead and run it up. And if you want to be wealthy, you can't live like that consistently. We have to put things away. Now, if you want to go on these nice trips, if you want to buy luxury items, I'm not saying you can't do that. If you make your budget up every month, you can put away money for vacations. My wife and I do it. We've done it. When we had our mortgage, we were still putting away money for vacations. We were putting away money for luxury items and things of that nature. Like we did that. But if you have the impulse of I need to go on this trip now, maybe pull back a little bit and maybe save up for it and then go on a trip. And then when you come back from the trip, you've already paid for the trip. You're not paying for it after you came back because you put it on a credit card because you couldn't really afford it at the time. Also, another thing is Christmas. Christmas is coming up. Christmas will be in another few weeks or so. And as parents, again, we talked about childhood trauma. As parents, we want our kids to have the best Christmas possible because a lot of us as parents didn't have the best Christmases. So we get into this pattern of I want my kid to have the best Christmas possible. Some people will get 2 and 3 jobs to be able to get their kids Christmas. Now, here's the good news. The good news is you have the ability to make more money. That's the good news. The bad news is we're spending it on things that in a few years your kids are not even probably going to be playing with those toys or those games or the video games that you bought them as a result of your hard work and your blood, sweat, and tears. So instead of directing that energy and directing that money into I'm going to buy my kids and I'm going to buy my kids gifts and they're going to have the best Christmas. Maybe direct that energy, that focus, and that money into the future. Maybe you take the money into lowering your expenses so you don't have to work the 2 and 3 jobs and then invest it for the future. Because what happens is that we get again into this cycle, into this pattern of because I didn't have, I want my kids to have, but we're doing it to our detriment. So what in our budget consulting, a lot of times I tell parents who I see going down that road is talk to your kids about your financial goals because the reality of the situation is that if you have financial goals and then you want your kids to have the best things, you can't really do two things at one time. You're going to direct a lot of your energy into one thing or the other. So what I normally recommend to my clients is that I let them know, hey, let your kids know what your financial goals are. Because when you tell them no, you can't buy this, or if they go to the store with you and they ask for this video game or they ask for this thing, then if you know that you can't afford it, you can let them know. But the good news is that you let them know before that, hey, mom and daddy are trying to do this financial goal. So when you tell them no, it's not going to hurt you as much and it's not going to hurt them as much because they understand why you're telling them no. A lot of time as parents, we try to shield our kids and not let them know what we're going through. And then we start buying things to all of our detriment because we never had the conversation. We never communicated what our financial goals were to our kids. And then because the kids wanted things and you know how it felt when you were a kid not to have, you try to scratch and claw to get them the thing that they want. But we're doing it to our detriment. And when I say detriment, I'm saying if you cannot truly afford this thing, you can't afford what you're buying them, then it's okay to tell them no. But I recommend that you have the conversation ahead of time before Christmas comes or before birthdays come to let them know where you are financially. And then when you tell them no that they can't have the thing, then they're already going to understand. Now, it's going to also do something else for them. It's going to get them involved in the financial trajectory of your family. Because the more we talk about money in our house, the more the kids are going to understand how money works. Can I afford this? Can I not afford it? Am I doing a budget? Am I not doing a budget? If I'm not doing a budget, this is the result of me not doing a budget. Or if I'm doing a budget, this is going to be the result. I'm paying things down. Now I have more money to go on vacations, to spend money on Christmas and different things of that nature and invest for the future. So I would recommend that we be growers and not showers. I'm going to show you what I can buy. I'm going to show my kid that I can afford it when I really can't. So it would be better for your future to invest for the future and lower your expenses and then invest, or lower your expenses. And then if you want to buy things because you can truly afford them, go ahead and do it. Number three. Number three is do not despise the small. Do not despise the small. When I say that, I talked about it earlier, that a lot of us have this idea that investing is this spectacular event, meaning you invest the 10,000 and then 5 weeks later I'm going to have $100,000 in my account. It doesn't normally work like that. It doesn't. It's a slow process of building for the future. And I feel like a lot of times we don't invest. We get into the pattern of, well, nah, investing is for them. It's not for me. I'm going to go ahead and live my best life. But when you get on the back end of your life, you'll wish that you had invested back then. I'm telling you that. So don't think and don't get into the mindset that I have to live my best life now and I won't invest for the future because I feel like I have to have $10,000. I have to have this large sum of money to start investing. No, you do not. You do not. So I had mentioned before of this project that I was doing with my niece and my nephews. I'm going to talk about my niece specifically. So what I did was is I wanted to talk to them about financial literacy, and then I wanted to reward them for being a part of the lessons. So I send them out 5 questions in the middle of the month. They send the questions back to me before the end of the month. Then at the beginning of the following month, we jump on a Zoom call. We talk about the questions together. There's about 4 of us on this call. My son's included. And then they get $25 to invest in whatever stock that they want, right? So again, $25, small amount of money. So with my niece specifically, we invest in this ETF for her. She's 4 years old. We started 2 years ago. She has a little over, I think, 1,700 bucks in her account right now. And we started again with $25. Now, birthdays, Christmas, if somebody wants to invest in her account, they can. But the thing about it is we started with 25 bucks. And to this date, she's over $500 in gains. In gains. Because we started small. And what we're doing is we're teaching financial literacy to them. And then also we're teaching them the power of starting small and just starting. So you think that there has to be this spectacular event, and no, we started with 25 bucks and now there's over $500 in gains in her account, and she's only 4. So just think about the compounding effect of us continuing to invest in her until she's 18. Think about that. Also, I talked about on this platform before about my son. We invested. We started an investment account for him regarding his schooling. So we started a 529 for him in 2016. We invested $400 every month from 2016 until now. At this point in time, he has enough money, in my opinion. I don't know how much school's going to be in 4 years. He's still in middle school at this point, but I believe he has enough money in there now that he will not have student loans or anything like that at all. And he hasn't reached high school yet. But the point of it is we started small. We didn't start off with $30,000 and then it just ballooned into $100,000. No, we didn't do that. We started small. So I'm telling you all that to say that it doesn't take a lot to make a huge impact, but you have to get out of the mindset. You have to get out of the pattern of thinking that I need a lot of money to um, to build up my portfolio, to build up my real estate portfolio, my investing portfolio in the stocks. It doesn't take a lot, but it does take consistency. It does take getting into a habit, good habits of investing. It also takes lowering your expenses so you have more money to make that money make you more money. Same thing with the real estate portfolio. We started off with one house and we paid that house down. Then we had more money to then invest in other real estate ventures. So the thing about it is that we have to get out of the mindset of, oh, that's good for them. I can never do that. If you feel like that, then you're probably right. But we have to break ourselves out of the mindset that that's good for them. It's not good for me. I'm going to continue to live my best life and I'm going to run it up. That is a recipe for disaster. I'm telling you that. So we have to start with those three small steps, which is master the mundane. We have to be a grower and not a shower. And then the third thing is do not despise the small. So if we can do those three things, I feel like we will be in a very good position to build wealth. If you have issues with your mindset, then maybe the wealth building community may be for you. If you have issues with accountability, maybe the wealth building community may be for you. If you have issues with a negative mindset, thinking, oh, that's good for them, it's not good for me, maybe the community is for you. We are breaking generational patterns so we can build generational wealth. And if you don't have any kids and you don't want to leave anything to anybody, then you at least you built up something that you can spend all on yourself if that's what you choose to do. But you put yourself in a position to be able to do that is the point. So that's the episode for today. So hopefully this has helped somebody. Guys, I am super excited about what Wealth as a Journey has been able to accomplish in these 90 weeks. Um, building, speaking, impacting lives. Very, very excited about that. And hopefully you will continue on this journey with us because we are going somewhere. We're getting to the M's and we're showing people that it's not as difficult as you think to get to the bag and not just get to the bag, but keep it and then make that money, make you more money. So thank you guys for tuning in this week. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Peace.